All right. So today's session, we are going to focus on RestAssured API testing using RestAssured. So RestAssured itself is an API. Okay, so to test the APIs, RestAssured is a kind of API which is provided to test the APIs. So that is a RestAssured. So how we can define the RestAssured is an API which is designed for automating the REST services or REST APIs. Okay, so RestAssured is available in the form of jar files. So basically the RestAssured is implemented using Java language, and they have created a lot of classes and methods, and by which we can automate our APIs. Okay, so we can send multiple type of requests, we can get the response from the API, and we can do different type of validations on the response. So all these things are possible by using RestAssured API. So RestAssured itself is an API by which we can automate other REST APIs. And RestAssured supports only REST services. It cannot support SOAP services. Okay. So if you go to the official website, so there is official website is available for RestAssured. Just type RestAssured. You will go to, you will see the first website. So this is RestAssured. This is official website of RestAssured. Okay. So this particular RestAssured is developed in Java itself. And especially the RestAssured is an API by which we can automate another APIs, that is REST service APIs. Okay, so we need today we'll first see the setup. So how we need to set up and configure this REST APIs. Okay, so the prerequisites are, so let me just write some prerequisites here. So what are the settings we need to have? So we need to have Java installation on your system, and we need a kind of IDE where we can write our code, that is called Eclipse. I'm using Eclipse as an IDE. So these are the basic things. So even if you want to write any Java or any automation scripts, you need to have Java as well as Eclipse, right? So Eclipse installation is required, and also Java as well as Eclipse, both are required. Now along with this, we need to also have TestNG. So TestNG is basically it is a unit testing framework, and which is also implemented by using Java. So which will provide a lot of features. We can execute our test cases, and we can organize your test cases. We can execute them parallelly. We can generate the reports. A lot of things we can perform by using TestNG. And I'm also going to use Maven. So this is another tool is available. So by using Maven, we no need to download any jar files, all these things. And we need to just specify some dependencies, and our project automatically downloads all the required dependencies or jar files. And basically Maven is a build tool, and we use this Maven for many purposes, for creating the builds, automation infrastructure, so all these things. And we can also execute our automation test cases through command prompt, through Jenkins, in multiple places. Okay, so that's the use of Maven. So now we are going to use all of them. Java installation is required, so Java is the first base, and then Eclipse is an IDE. So TestNG is having some feature. We are also going to incorporate those features, and finally we need a Maven. So these are the prerequisites. Now in the Maven, we need to specify multiple dependencies. So normally we can just download the jar file, attach them to your project. The other words, we can create a Maven project. We can specify the only dependencies. It will download required things for RestAssured framework. Okay, so these are the technologies which we are going to use as part of our RestAssured automation. So Java, Eclipse, TestNG, and Maven. So if you already know about Java, other things like TestNG, Maven, that is fine. But if you don't know exactly, if you are completely zero in these technologies, you have to learn them. Okay. So for that, what I can do is I will just provide you some links here. So to learn these things, so this link is having all the Java related videos, and very basic Java is required, guys. How to just create the class, how to create an object, how to execute a Java program. So these things are very much required. And in detail, we don't require like object oriented programming. In deeper concepts, we don't require. At least for basic level concepts, we need to know about the Java. And I have given some YouTube playlist link here. You can just open this link. You will find a lot of Java videos. Almost 10 to 15 videos are available. If you watch them, you can learn easy. Okay. And Eclipse is an IDE which we are going to download and install. This is a prerequisites. And TestNG also we need to know, because TestNG also very huge one. So there are a lot of features are available. And if you already learned TestNG earlier, that is fine. If you don't know anything about TestNG, you should learn this TestNG. That is most important. So the main usage of TestNG is, it is a basically inbuilt framework or predefined framework, Java based framework, and it is implemented on top of Java and especially used for organizing your test cases and test suites. That's the main usage of TestNG. And if you don't know the TestNG, if you are completely zero, then just go to this playlist. Here I'm giving the link, and go to this playlist. You will find a lot of TestNG videos, okay, which are already uploaded in YouTube channel. Okay, so you can learn very easily Java as well as TestNG. So Java you can find around 10 to 12 videos. Every video will be around 1 hour, and TestNG also will be there. So it is around 5 to 6 hours videos are there. So it is completely free video, so you can just watch and you can learn yourself. Okay, and Maven is very simple. I'm going to show you Maven how to use it. Okay, so these are all prerequisites we need to have before starting a RestAssured. Okay, so if you're not aware of these concepts, so along with my classes, you need to also prepare for them. Parallelly, you need to spend some time learning Maven as well as Java. Okay, because RestAssured is only for the people who already know Java as well as TestNG. Okay, so that's a prerequisite. Now, so what I can do today is I will just create new Maven project. I'll show you how to create a Maven project. First step is creating Maven project in Eclipse. Okay, creating Maven project in Eclipse. And before starting these steps, the prerequisite I already said, Java should be installed in your system and it should be available, and also Eclipse Ide should be also available. Okay, so and in Eclipse you need to also install TestNG, and Maven by default will be there in Eclipse. So these are the prerequisites. So creating Maven project in Eclipse, this is the first step. We need to create a Maven project in Eclipse, and then the second step is we need to update. So we need to update pom.xml file. So once you created your Maven project in Eclipse, instead of Java project, we have to create a Maven project. So once you created your Maven project, it will automatically provide one file called pom.xml file. So this is main file which is there in the Maven. Maven internally uses this particular file. So in this particular file, we need to specify different type of dependencies for RestAssured. To use RestAssured, what are all things we require, like TestNG and RestAssured related files. So there are some dependencies we need to have. So all the dependencies we need to specify in the pom.xml, and this will download corresponding jar files which are required for RestAssured automation. Okay, so this is a step-by-step process, guys. So I strongly recommend you guys please go through Java and TestNG videos before practicing this session. Okay, so I already have all the setup, everything is ready in my system. So I'm just opening my Eclipse. Okay, this is my Eclipse editor. So now onwards, everything is a coding, guys. RestAssured is completely coding part. We don't have any UI kind of thing. Everything is a coding part. Okay, so my Eclipse is available. So this is my Eclipse Ide, where I can write Java programs and Selenium scripts and RestAssured, everything, almost Java technologies, everything I can use for Eclipse Ide. So as a first step, what I can do is we need to have Java installation, Eclipse Ide, and within Eclipse, you need to also have a TestNG, Maven. Both should be there. So how we will know whether Maven and TestNG already there in the Eclipse? Just go to your Windows and Preferences. Here you can see two options. One is TestNG, the other one is Maven. So Maven by default integrated with Eclipse, but TestNG you have to install explicitly. Okay, so I will share small document how to install TestNG on top of Eclipse. You guys can follow the same thing. Okay, it is simple steps we already have. So let me, I will share the document and later I'll show you. So using that screenshot, you can easily install this TestNG. Okay, so this is a prerequisite, guys. So we need to have Eclipse and we need to have Maven by default will be there in the latest versions of Eclipse, and TestNG also should be installed. Okay, now first step, I should create a Maven project. So we can also create a simple Java project, but we need to download all the dependencies manually, and then we need to add those dependencies jar files to your project. So that is again a long process. but in projects, real projects, we don't do like that. Okay, as a beginner you can do that, but in real-time projects we don't do that. We always create only Maven project. We always create Maven project. Okay, so here first step, I've opened my Eclipse and I'm creating Maven project. Go to the file, new, and normally we create Java projects, but this time we need to create a Maven project. So go to other, and here I'm selecting Maven folder. Inside this you will see Maven project option. So select this option, click on the next. Now it will give you this particular location. Use default workspace location. Means whatever all projects I created in my Eclipse will be stored in the default location. So let it be there and click on next. Now this window by default it will select this option. So let it be there. We no need to select anything here. Just click on the next again. So this window we need to provide some options. So group ID and artifact ID we need to provide. So group ID is normally, artifact ID, these things normally the name of the project. Okay. So here what I can do is I will just give some name here. So my project name is API testing. Okay, I'll say RestAssured or API testing. Okay, this is my project name. RestAssured API testing. So the same name you have to provide in the artifact ID. Okay, so I think this is already available. It is saying, okay, it is already available. So let me just use different name. So REST API testing, RestAssured, let's say RA. Okay, so this is also fine, or I can say different name. So RestAssured automation, right? So this is fine. So RestAssured automation. So this is the name of the project I have given. So RestAssured automation project. Let me give some uppercase letter here. Okay, so both should be the same. RestAssured automation, RestAssured automation. Then click on finish. So now it will create a new project here. So RestAssured automation project, and this is small project you can see here. So this is a project. This is manual. This is Maven project which is created in this particular tree structure. Okay. So here this is a project name, and these are the two different by default packages will be there, and this is most important for us, pom.xml. So in pom.xml we need to specify all the dependencies which are required for RestAssured automation. So I will show you what are the dependencies we require to perform RestAssured automation. Okay, but this is a current project we have just created using Maven project. So Maven is also internally uses Java, but Maven will provide you some additional features. We can run our tests in command prompt, Jenkins, all the places. So that is a flexibility we will get by Maven. Okay, and most important usage is in pom.xml we will specify the dependencies. So once we specify the dependencies, required jar files automatically downloads. Okay, APIs in nothing but is available in the form of jar files. So RestAssured itself is an API, so it is available in the form of jar files. So we no need to download anything. We need to just specify the dependencies in the pom.xml. So it will automatically download all required jar files. I'll show you how it will be done. So now, just a moment. Okay, so I have just created one Maven project. Once you created this Maven project, just expand these two folders, src/main/java, src/test/java. So normally this is a root packages. These two called as a root packages in Java. So the first package, src main Java, this particular package normally used by the developers for development purpose. And src test Java, this package is normally used for the testing purpose. Okay, so but internally the default package is created, so we don't require those two packages. I will create our own packages later. So for now I'm just removing them. Okay, you can directly right click, or you can just remove, or you can press delete button in your keyboard. So those two packages I'm deleting. So currently I have only two root packages. I will create packages later. And now this is complete project, and open pom.xml now. So double click on the pom.xml. So in this pom.xml, by default you will see some code. Okay, by default you will see like group ID, artifact ID, and properties, and a small dependency also you can see. This is called as a dependency code. So this is included in the dependency tags. Here it is started and here it is ended. So this is a dependency for JUnit. So JUnit is also one of the framework which is available in the market. It's just like a TestNG. So TestNG and JUnit both are almost same, but TestNG having more number of features, so TestNG has become more popular than JUnit. But Maven by default will use JUnit, and you can also configure TestNG dependency there. Okay, so if you want to still keep it here, you can have, or else we can just remove it. We don't require that JUnit dependency. So now we need to add our own dependencies. What are our dependencies we require for REST assured automation? We need to add our dependencies here. So as a first step, we created Maven project in Eclipse, and now we need to update pom.xml with the dependencies. So what are the dependencies? Dependencies are nothing but a small piece of XML code which will download the jar files. Okay, so we need to update pom.xml with required dependencies. So if you are already working on some Selenium and other tools, you people are aware of this. We have to download Selenium jar files, attach them to your project. So all these things are we have done earlier, right? Same thing here also. So we need to download, we need to add some required dependencies in the pom.xml. So what are the dependencies we require to perform REST assured automation? So we need some dependencies. One is we need a REST assured dependency, and we need to also add TestNG dependency, and we need to also add JSON simple dependency. I'll tell you why all these things required JSON simple dependency to validate the JSON responses and all. And apart from this, we need REST assured, TestNG, and JSON simple, and also we need Apache POI dependency, because we are also going to perform some data driven test cases. We'll specify the test data in Excel file and read the data from Excel file and pass to the API. So if you run the API multiple times with the different tests, different set of data, we perform the data driven testing. So we need to make use of Apache POI. So this is also other third-party APIs. So these are all again third-party APIs, guys. Okay, REST assured itself is an API. TestNG, JSON simple, Apache. So we need to add dependencies for these tools or these APIs into the pom.xml. Then it will automatically download required jar files and attach them to your current project. Okay, but where we will get these dependencies? So if you see, previously it was there in JUnit dependency by default. But similarly, we need to also add other dependencies for these tools. But where we will get these dependencies? So we can get this dependency from Maven repository website. Just go to Google and type Maven repository. So Maven, I'll say just Maven repository. So this is the official website for Maven. And if you go to this particular website, you can get dependencies for any technology, anything, any tool. Okay, so here we need to just type the name of the dependency. It will automatically show you. So here, first, for example, I need REST assured dependency. So just type here REST assured Java. And if you type here REST assured, okay, Java, so it will give you some dependencies here. You need to type proper keyword. Okay, so let me write one more time. REST assured. Just type only REST assured. Yeah, now it is displayed REST assured. So this is the one we need to download, guys. Okay, Java DSL for easy testing of REST services. Okay, this is the one we need to download. So io.rest assured. So with the same name, there are some other APIs also will be there, but we need to make sure the website, whatever link they are giving, correct or not. And even if you go for REST assured official website, you will see the same kind of icon there. Okay, so this is the icon. So this is a official website, and by seeing this website, you should get clarity. So whether it's the right option or not, because with the same name, you can see other jar files also. You can see one more jar is also available, but this is developed by some other third-party vendors. Okay, so we need to download this one. So click on this REST assured. Now here there are so many versions are available. These are old versions, and the latest version is 3.3.0. Okay, now click on this 3.3.0. Now here it will give you Maven dependency. You can see this is called dependency. This piece of code is called dependency. So just like a Maven, there are other tools also there in the market like Gradle, SBD, IV, Grave. These are also build tools, competitors of Maven. But Maven is the most popular build tool which is available in the market. Okay, so this is a dependency for RestAssured. So let me copy this entire code, Control C, and go to your Eclipse and copy that dependency under dependency stack. So dependency stack is started here and it is end tag here. And in between we need to copy this. So this line is just a comment. Okay, we can also remove this. So this is a dependency we captured from Maven repository for RestAssured. Okay, and observe guys, one more important thing here is, and if you expand this one, Maven dependencies, currently JUnit is also there, because previously we have seen dependency for JUnit. So it is downloaded this JUnit jar file. Now I have removed JUnit dependency. Now I have added another dependency, that is RestAssured dependency, right? Now, as soon as we have saved this particular file, it will download these many files. See this, how many files it is downloaded. So JUnit jar, it is automatically removed, and this particular dependency downloaded these many jar files. Okay, so what is these jar files? These jar files contains a lot of classes and methods, Java classes and methods, and by which we can automate REST services. Okay, so if I don't use your Maven project, if I normally use Java project, you have to download these jar files manually from different websites. So that is again tedious task. So instead of that, what we can do is we can just create a Maven project and specify the dependency in the pom.xml, and then automatically it will download all the required jar files and attach them to your project. And one more advantage is, suppose tomorrow the latest version of RestAssured is released, then you have to just change the latest version here. Just update the version. The old jars will be gone and the new jars will be downloaded. So this is another advantage if you use Maven project. Okay, so or else if you can also download these jar files and attach them to your project. So that is another way also we can do this. But I don't suggest that approach. But as a beginner, you can go with that. But this is actual approach we need to follow in the projects. Okay. So now I have added RestAssured dependencies. So these dependencies are coming from RestAssured. Now we don't. Okay, this is only not enough for us. We need to also download other dependencies. So RestAssured, I already downloaded. So where we can get the dependencies? This is a link, Maven repository link. Here, just copy this code and paste it over here. So this is a link for downloading RestAssured dependencies. Now the TestNG. So for TestNG also we need to add jar files. So just type TestNG here in the search window in Maven repository. It will give you dependencies. Okay, org.testng. Now open this one, and these are latest version 7 is there, but they are all in beta versions. I'll go for stable version, that is 6.14.3. Click on this one and it will give you Maven dependency. Now capture this, copy, and I will add that also here. This is another entry. Okay, this is also should be part of under dependency stack, and this will download TestNG jar files. Okay, this dependency download TestNG jar files. Once you save it, it will also download a TestNG. Now you can see small TestNG jar file here, right? So automatically this will take care of it. Now, but even though we have a jar file, you need to install TestNG on Eclipse. Okay, you need to install TestNG on Eclipse. So I will share a small document how to install TestNG on Eclipse. You guys can follow. It's very, very simple. So just to hold on, if you are not aware of how to install TestNG on Eclipse, I will show you with the detailed steps. Just a moment. So I'm going to share a small document which contains the steps how to install TestNG on Eclipse. Okay, so this is a small document installing TestNG on Eclipse. So what you should do is, first we need to go to help menu and install new software on Eclipse. Help menu, here install new software, and it will give you this particular window, and then you need to click on add button. So here you can see add button, click on add button, then you will get this window. So in this window, in the name field, you can give some name called TestNG, something like that, and the location you have to provide this URL in this location, and like this. Okay, and then click on the OK button. Then it will start installing TestNG. then it will give you this particular screen. Now again click on the next. Now it will start installing the TestNG software on Eclipse, and once it is completed, it will give you a small warning. You can just ignore it, click on OK button, and then it will ask you the restarting the Eclipse. Once you've done this, Eclipse will be automatically restarted. Okay, this is most important step. So once you restarted your Eclipse, then you can go and preferences, check the TestNG option is available. Now here go to Eclipse and window preferences. Here you can see TestNG option. So this is how we need to install TestNG in Eclipse. Okay, I will share this small documentation. Just follow the screenshot. It's very, very simple. Okay, now so come back. So in the pom.xml, we have added RestAssured dependency and TestNG dependency. Even though we have a TestNG dependency, we need to add TestNG library. Okay. Now after that, there is one more. So JSON simple also we need to add. So this is another dependency we require. So why we need this one? Because if you want to verify JSON response, so once we have run the API, we will get the response in the JSON format, right? REST services will return the response in the JSON format. So if you want to verify something in the JSON format of response, we need this particular dependency. So we can also get this from Maven repository. So just type JSON simple. So it is giving this one, JSON.simple. There are multiple things are there. You need to go for this com.googlecode.json simple. Now click on this. So 1.1.1 is the latest version. So click on this. This is a dependency. Copy this and paste over here. Okay, this is another dependency. Now close this one. Remove the comment. We don't require. So this will also download a few more things. So JUnit is also inbuilt here. So it is also downloaded. So JSON simple jar file is also downloaded. So 3 dependencies we have downloaded so far. The last one is Apache POI. So this is also we need to download. So let's go to again Maven repository. Apache POI. So we need to download 2 things, guys. So this is only POI OO XML. Both we need to download. So first we'll go for first one. And here the latest version is 4.1.0. Click on this. Let's copy the dependency. And for what we are doing this, because we are going to work with the Excel file in the coming session to perform data-driven testing. So that's the reason we need to also download this API. So because this will support, this will give the support of Excel file. We can read the data, write the data, all the operations we can perform on the Excel file. And apart from this dependency, there is one more dependency for Apache POI, the second one, which will also we need to download. 4.4.1, so 4.1.0. And for Apache POI, we need 2 dependencies. And both versions should be exactly the same. Okay. Then I'll remove this comment and put this here. That's it. Now save it. It will download all the required jar files. Now you can see my jar files are increased. These are all Maven dependencies currently I have. So while automating our test cases, we are going to use these dependencies internally. We will get a lot of classes and methods only by adding these dependencies. Okay, so this is all configuration, guys. Till here, we have just done the configuration part. So as a first step, what I have done, we created Maven project in Eclipse. Then we have to update pom.xml with 4 dependencies. So I will also provide the links here. So RestAssured is this one, and TestNG. This is your, just type TestNG here in the Maven repository. You will get this one, and click on the latest 6.14.3. This is a link for TestNG. Anyway, I will provide the pom.xml file, so you can just copy from them also. So you can just copy only this particular section, dependency, and paste them into the pom.xml. And or you can just download directly, because in future if you are going to download latest versions, in this particular link you can find the latest version. I'm not specifying the version. Whichever version you need, you can download. Okay, these are the links. And for JSON simple, also we have a JSON simple. This is a dependency. Go to 1.1.1. So this is the description. This is the dependency. This we need to download. So I will just give path till here. So the version always changes, okay? Whichever version is the latest, we can download that. And for Apache POI, we need to download two things. So this is the one, this is the one, and the next one is OXML. This is the one. This is HTTPS. Okay, so these are the two dependencies we required for Apache POI. So this is basically used for working with Excel files. So that's it, guys. So we can download all the required dependencies from these particular links: RestAssured dependency, TestNG dependency, JSON simple, and Apache POI. So once we have downloaded this, and all the jars will be ready under Maven dependencies. This is all about setup and configuration. Okay, so now we'll start writing the code, how many ways we can test the REST APIs. So once we have done this, this is called setup. Maven project setup, RestAssured automation project setup. Fine. So now let us see few APIs. So as I said before, RestAssured will support only REST services. Okay, so we need to have some sample REST services, and what are kind of requests we have to send, what kind of response we will get, and what are the different validations we can perform. So we'll see all these things. So first of all, I will show you some REST APIs. Okay, I have some list of RestAssured REST services. So these are all the different REST services, and I have given some endpoint, nothing but URLs, and what type of request we need to send, what is the URI we need to send, and what is the body we have to specify, success, response, status code, comments. I have given some information. These are all basically test cases. Okay, so this information I provided in the Excel file. So now we are going to automate these services using RestAssured automation, RestAssured API. Okay, so currently I have 6 requests. I have 6 API requests, and every API request is having a different kind of strategy. For example, the first API, what I'm going to do is, this is basically weather API. So when I send this request, it will give you the weather condition of the particular place or particular city. So once you get the response, we need to validate the status code and status line. As soon as we got some response, we should validate the status code is correct or status line is correct or not. So this is our expected status code and status line. Okay, and the second API, register customer API. So if I send this particular URL, it will ask you to register a new customer. So this is basically post request. So we need to provide some data like first name, last name, username and password, and email address. Then it will create a new customer with you by using this particular data. And in the success response, we will get this particular message. And what we should verify here is, we should verify status code and success response. We should verify this in this particular API request, and this is a post request. Now the next one is a Google Map API. So we already seen this as part of SoapUI, right? So this is Google Map API. So if I send this particular request, and this API is also required some key here. So if you see this particular link, I already have some key updated here. So this particular portion is called as a key. This is called a key because key is required. So this key already created earlier in the Google Map API. So the same key I'm using here as part of request URL. And this is a get request. What this API will do is, it will also give you some nearby locations. If I specify something called supermarket or something like this, it will give you what are all supermarkets are available nearby your location. Okay, and once you get the response, it will give you all the different supermarkets available in nearby your location. And in that particular response, we are going to validate header parts. So content encoding, content type, and server. So these things we can verify. It is giving proper headers or not. So headers also part of the response. So this is even status code also we are going to verify. So these are all validation points, guys. Okay. So whenever you test your API, few things we need to remember. First thing is, we need to send a request. Then we will get the response. So once you get the response, few things we have to validate. So what are the things? Status code, status line, content, response body, headers, okay, time, how much time it is taken. So there are multiple parameters are there. So we have to verify all of them correctly we are getting or not for that particular API request. Okay, they are compulsory there. So they are common for almost every API. And maybe the response body will be changed. The verification of response body can be changed, but rest of the fields will be there. The values will be different. So the next API is Google Map API. Here we are going to validate the headers of those particular API returns. Now the next API is Google Map API itself, but here I'm going to show you all the headers. Once you send, this is also same guys, third and fourth exactly same request, but in the third request I'm going to verify the headers are having proper values or not. But in the next request I'm just printing the all headers information. So once we send the same request, it will display some headers information. It will be around 10 to 15 headers parameters will be there. So I'm just capturing and I'll show you how to read and print all the headers value after getting the response. So that is fourth one. And the fifth one is weather API. So the same, this is weather API, but it's different. And validate JSON response body. So especially this API in this request, whenever I provide some city here, it will give you weather condition on that particular city. And this is a response we will get. So like city, temperature, humidity, how much humidity we have, weather description, wind speed. So this information will be written. Now, especially in this API, we are going to validate these things. We are going to focus on JSON response body, not other things, not status code, status lines. They are completely different. And here, especially in this API, we are going to focus on how to verify the JSON response body. Okay, so JSON response contains proper data or not. As per our expectation, I will verify that. And the last one, weather API. This is also same API, but here I'll mainly focus on extracting values of each node. That means, so it will return this response, right, in the JSON format. So in the fifth step, what I'm going to verify here is, in this, I will just check whether my city is present or not. Okay, so proper humidity is present or not in this body, I can verify. But in the last request, what I'm going to show you is, I will read each and every value. I will extract each and every value from the response, and I will print them in the console window. I will extract these values. So that is called as a extract values from each node. So city is one node, temperature is another node, humidity is another node. From each and every node, I am getting the values, and then I will print them in my console window. So first, in this particular session, we are going to discuss how we can send these requests, get request, and currently we have only 3 types of request, I guess. So we have get request, just a second. So we have a get request and we have a post request. That's the only thing, right? Get and post request. And we will also see other kind of requests in the next example. So, and moreover, we are going to focus on the different kinds of validations. For every API, I will show you different type of validations. How we can validate the status code, status line, content, headers, response body. So there are various things we have to verify after getting the response. So all these things we have to do using coding itself, RestAssured automation code. Okay. So now I'll show you one by one how we can do it. So today we'll see, mostly we'll try all the 5-6 APIs if possible, or else we'll discuss few of them. Okay. So let's go to Eclipse now. So these are the 2 default packages have been created. So as a tester, we need to use always second one. Okay. So here right click, I'm creating a new class. So here I will just give some test case name. So I will give some test case name as, let's say, demo1 underscore, this is the get request underscore, I'll set some request. Okay. So this is a name I'm giving. This is get request. This is the first API case. So this is the first TC-ID 1, 2, 3 also there. You can also give TC-ID here. I'll say TC001. This is better. Okay. TC001 get underscore request. So it is representing the first one. This is get request. So I'm just say get here. Now take this main method, or we don't take main method because in TestNG we don't use main methods. So click on the finish. So now it is created a simple Java class. Okay. Now we need to automate this one. So the first API. So we have understood what this API will do, what the response will get, how to verify the status code, all these things. Okay. Now let us try to automate this. So please focus on this, very, very important. So as a first step, what we have to do is we need to create a TestNG method. So here I will create a simple method called void And what is this API is representing? It will get the weather condition. Okay, this is the weather API. So weather API validates status code and status line. So I will say void get weather details. Get weather details. So this is the method I created. This is the TestNG method, so that I need to specify with the test annotation. So in TestNG we have certain kind of annotations are available, so which will control the execution flow of methods. Okay, so whenever you write simple method in the class, we must specify with test annotation. Okay, then only our TestNG will execute this method, or else it will not consider it. That's most important. So now I created a method called get weather details. Now let us write automation code here. REST API, REST assured API automation code. So what is the first thing we need to have is we need to define this URI. So when I send this URI, we will get the response. So the first step is we need to specify the base URI. So specify base URI. Okay, how to specify the base URI is we have a predefined class called RestAssured dot base URI. So this is a variable we need to capture. So RestAssured dot base URI, and here we need to specify exactly the URI. So what is the base URI means? If you go to Excel, this is an endpoint. This is called as a URI. So here endpoint is nothing but just only the domain part. Okay, so here this is a city, right? So in place of city, we need to provide the city name. We have to provide the city name. So this is actual URI. So this complete domain which contains path parameters, city slash, I'll say here Hyderabad. You can also say different city also. But here we need to specify, we have to capture till city, and Hyderabad is a one of the parameter which we need to pass as a get request. And whichever city we pass here, it will give you weather information of that particular city. So if I copy this directly here, and this parameter we need to pass later. Okay, and for now I'm just removing this, we don't require. So this is called as a URI, guys. Okay, so and semicolon. So rest assured dot base URI is equal to, this is the URI we are going to use. This is the step one. Now, so we need to send this URI as a get request. So what type of request we are going to send? Get request. So we need to create a request object. We have a predefined class in REST assured, that is request specification. Request specification, and this is also predefined class which we need to import from REST assured. So if you notice, as soon as I have used some classes, by default REST assured is imported some packages. And if you are not properly added these jar files, you have not properly added the dependencies, you will not get these packages properly. It will throw some error. Okay. So now URL I specified. The next thing is what kind of request I am going to send. That also we need to specify using request specification. So request specification, and here I am giving some variable HTTP request. This is just a variable, request variable is equal to, again, rest assured dot given. So this is a method we have to use. So with this particular object, we are going to send a request to the server. Okay. Now request specification, we have to import from IO rest assured dot specification, and click on this one. It will automatically import. You don't need to remember anything here. All right. So now specify the base URI. So the second step is, what is this? Why we need to create this object? This is representing the request object. This is the request object created. So whenever you want to send some request, we have to use this particular object. Okay. So this is HTTP request. So just follow the naming convention, and is equal to rest assured dot given. And the next step is we need to also create the response object. So by using this object, we are going to send a request. So once you send a request, we will get the response. So where we have to store that response? For that, we need to create one more object, that is response object. Response object also we need to create. So response object. So what is the response object is in REST assured? Response object. So response object, we have to use a class called response. response is a predefined class, and for that I will create one variable called a response. And Java is a case sensitive language, so this one and this one will be different. So response is a predefined class in RestAssured. This response is an object. So response is equal to, and HTTP request dot request. We need to use this one, HTTP request, because until unless we send a request, we will not get the response. So if I want to send a request, we need to use this object. So HTTP request dot what request, HTTP request dot request, and in the bracket we need to specify what kind of request we are going to send. So that is get request. So here we need to use method dot. Now you can see different type of request will be populated here. So we are going to send get request. So method dot get, and what kind of parameter we need to pass as an input? When I send this URI, we need to pass a city value also, right? So then it will give you weather condition on that particular city. So what is an actual URL is till city is just a URL we specified in the base URI. Now this is path parameter actually. So this we need to pass along with the request. So that we need to specify in the double quotations. So this particular portion should be added here, and final request will be sent to the server. Okay. Now using this HTTP request object, we are sent get request and we have passed the path parameter. Now this will send the request to the server, then it will also get the response and store that response in this particular variable. And this variable must be response type, and this response also we need to import from IO RestAssured dot response. Okay, so with these three steps, what we have done so far is we have specified the URI, then we specify one object for sending request, and with this object we have already requested to the server. We have sent get request. While sending the get request, I specify the path parameter, and accordingly it will give you the response weather condition on this particular city, then store that response in this particular variable. Okay, so once we get the response into this particular variable, now we can start verifying something on the response. And first step, I will try to print what is the response I will get. So whatever response I got here, I want to print the response in my console window. How we will print it? So here I will show you print response in console window. But normally we don't print like this. We should do certain validations. But for your understanding, I'm just showing you this. So this response contains the response. Whatever response the server is written, that response will be stored in this response variable. Now I want to get that response, and I will show you in the console window. So how we will get is this response object dot get body dot as string, because normally in the response is in JSON format. So JSON format we cannot directly get it and print in the console window. So response dot get body will give you JSON format of response, and as a string method will convert that JSON format of response into string format. Now I will store that response body in a string variable. Let's say string. Okay, string. I will say response body. I'll create one variable here, and whatever body response I have captured from this variable, I'm storing here. And now I will print here. So use system dot out dot println, and here I will write a meaningful message, that is response body is I can say double quotations and plus print this value which is there in this variable, and then semicolon. That's it, guys. So what I have done, I have got the response by using this request and stored that into response, and from this response I have extracted the body and as string. So because the response contains a lot of things, guys, not only response body, it contains the status code, status lines, time, header, so many things, but we need only response body here. So that's the reason response dot get body dot as string I have used. So this will convert entire body JSON format to string format and store that into this variable response body. Now I'm printing here. Okay, let's execute till here. What this will give you, run as TestNG test. So now it is executed, and you can just ignore those warnings. Now we can see it is returning something. So this is the output we got. In TestNG we will get two kinds of output. One is tree structure and the other one is console output. See this is a response body is. Here I have printed same thing, right? So response body is, here it is printed like this. So this is a response body. So city, what is the city I provided? Hyderabad. So in the Hyderabad, what is the temperature, humidity, weather description? All these things have been displayed here. So this is a response. We got it from the API request. Okay. So till now we captured the response and stored that response in a variable, and I have shown you how to print that response in the console window. Now in the response we will verify something. So as per my test case, once you get the response, what I should verify? Status code and status line should verify. And status code, status line is correct or not, I need to verify. So I will show you how to verify status code and status line. So if the request is successful, you will get 200 is a status code. Okay. So I will show you how to capture status code. So here status code validation starts. So status code, status line, all these things are part of response. So if you want to get them, again we need to use this response object, because this response object contains all the information. So how to get the status code now? Response object dot get status code. Okay, so there is a method called, so you don't need to remember, it will automatically pop up here, get status code. So this will give you status code from this particular response, and store that status code in a variable. It will be written as an integer format. So let me create one integer variable, integer. I will create as a status code. Status code is a variable. So now I need to verify whether this status code is correct or not as per my expectation. So if you want to print this status code, you can also print it here. I will say system.out.println. Right, so here I will print the status code. So here I'll say status code is, and here plus status code value I'm printing. Okay, so I captured the status code from this response, and now I'm printing the status code. Now I need to check whether this status code is as per my expectation or not. So as per my test case, response status code should be 200. Okay, so here I will put one assert command in TestNG. Assert is a verification point. Okay, so assert equals, okay, this is the command which will verify both the values are equal or not. So assert equal, what is an actual value? So this will give you actual value. So I'm specifying here. So status code contains the actual status code which is captured from the response. Now what we are expecting? We are expecting 200 is a status code. Now specify that. So now what this statement will do is, it will compare actual status code with our own status code, expected status code. If both are same, then my test will pass. If both are not same, my test will fail. Okay, so before that I have printed my status code. This is optional, just for your understanding, just for your information, I'm printing it here. And we can also directly do the validation. So this is how we need to capture the status code from the response. Then we can verify the status code is correct or not. And the next thing is, we can also verify the status line. So how to verify the status line? Again, we need to repeat the same thing. So status line verification. So how to get the status line? Very simple. Again, response object dot get status line. So there is a method called get status line. So this will give you status line, and the status line basically in the string format. Okay, so you can store that into some variable. I'll create a string variable, string. I will say status line is equal to. Now we capture the status line from the response and store that status line inside this variable status line. Now if you want to see the status line, you can just print it, system.out.println, and this status line we have to print. And if you want to validate, again we need to write one more assert command. So I'll say assert equals, and actual status line is this one, but what is our expected status line? This is our expected status line. Copy this and paste over here. and it is a string format, so we should put in the double quotations. So that's it, guys. So in this particular test case, I have sent some request and get the response, and also printed the response body, and I verified the status code and status line is correct or not for this particular request. Okay, so this is how we need to write the test case. Now let us execute this one more time. Right click, run as TestNG test. So now it is sending the request, getting the response, everything I have printed here. Okay, so you can see the output, everything. So response body, this is your response body, and status code is 200. This is a response code, I guess, right? So okay, so status line directly printed because I have not specified any message here. So we can just write some meaningful message. This is status line is, okay, so this is status line, right? So status line is, I'm just putting one plus operator here. So it will just concatenation like this, right? So let me run one more time. It will give you all the details, and it will also perform the verifications on status line and status code. Now this is a response body. This is status code which is written. This is a status line which is written, and my test is passed finally. So passed in the sense all the assertions have been passed. Even one of the assertion is failure, then overall my test method will fail. Okay, so remember this. So for example, let me just something I change. So here in status code I am expecting 200. Suppose I make as a 201. Let us just assume my expected code is 201. Then what happens? This assertion will be failed. Now let me execute one more time. It will throw an error. My test will fail because actual and expected is different. Now you can see get weather details is getting failure. And why it is getting failure? It is clearly saying the result here. So expected is 201, but it is found 200. Okay, so sometimes if assertion is failed, your test case will fail. So this is your 200 is the status code. Now again one more time we can run this. So this is how we need to write a REST assured automation test case for testing APIs. Okay, done. So this is the first test case, guys. So this is the first test case we have automated, this one. And in this test case I have validated two things. One is status code and status line. And we can also validate a lot of things. There are so many things we can validate. I'll show you in different examples because in post request and there are multiple requests are there, right? So in each and every test case, I will show you different type of validations. Okay. All right. So now this is my first test case. Now let's go and create another test. And closing this. Now the second test is register customer API. So this is a post request. Okay, now I am going to show you how to send a post request. So post is nothing but we need to also send the data to the server, and then it will give you some success response. This is success response, and status code is 201. And this time we are also going to verify the success response, guys. So this time we are also going to verify the success code and message these things, and also 201 is the status code I'm going to verify. Now let's create one more test case. So here right click, and it is by default created under default package. If you want to create your own package, you can rename it. So I'm just trying to refactor. I think it's a default package. It is not allowing to rename. Just let it be there. Later we can do this. So let me just create another test case, another class, and this is TC2. Let's say TC002 underscore. This is a post request. So I'll just say post underscore request. So always give some meaningful name, okay? And don't give any spaces between. Sorry, this is a package. I should take the class, guys. Okay, right click on the package, new class, and here you need to provide the name of the class. Right. So once you provide it and click on finish, then it is created a new class. So now we are going to automate another test case. So in the Excel, we have this one, register customer API. So basically this API will register a new customer in the database with first name, last name, username and password and email address. We need to pass this data. Okay. And this is a URL. So till customer, this is basically endpoint, and /register is a path parameter which we need to pass separately. Okay, now let's go to Eclipse. As a first step, we need to follow the same steps, guys. Okay, so few things will be slightly changing. So step by step, everything is same. Now I will copy some code from the first one. I'll copy the same code, and a few things we need to slightly change. So this API, I will name it as registration, right? I'm just giving some different name. Registration successful API. Okay, so what are all things we need to add here? So this is a post request, guys. Remember, this is not a get request. This is a post request. So if it is a post request, first thing is we need to know the URI. So what is a URI we are going to use here is, this is a URI. First we need to copy this one till customer. Okay, specify here. This is a common thing. And after that, we need to send a request and get the response. So for that, we need a request object. So this is also same. Request specification is also same. Request object is equal to RestAssured.given. So this is created the request object. So once you created the request object, then we need to send the request to the server. Then it will give you response. But this time, previously it is a get request. So it is giving some response. But this time we are sending the post request. So in the post request, we need to also send some parameters, some customer information like first name, last name, email ID, these things we need to pass along with the request. So how we can pass it? So here we need to do slight change. So here we have to remove this one. So instead of this, we need to do something else here. So when you do the request, we need to also send some data to the server because it is a post request. Okay, and this post request contains some information in the JSON format. If you notice here, I have given the body here. This is in JSON format. Okay, so we have to send this request along with this body, and then it will create the new record in the database. But how we can send this request? So before sending the request, we need to first create the body, that is the data. Okay, for that we need to use some different class called as JSON object. So this is spelling is like this. Okay, JSON object is equal to, so request parameters we need to specify, because along with the post request we need to also send some parameters, first name, last name, all this thing. So they are called request parameters. So those request parameters are there in the JSON format. So JSON object, and here I'll create one variable called request params. Request params is equal to new JSON object. I'm just creating an object for JSON object class. Okay, this is object creation, and this JSON object we need to import from this org.json.simple package. And why we are getting this package? Because we already added this dependency in the pom.xml, right? So you have to select this from org.json.simple. Now we need to add required parameters which are going to send along with the post request. Okay, but how we can add them? So as per my test case, I need to send these details along with the post request: first name, last name, username, password, and email ID. So these values we need to add as a parameters. So how we can add them? So to add these parameters, we need to write like this. So request params dot put method we have to use. Request params dot put. So what is the first field I need to send? First name and a value. So here key is first name. This is case sensitive. You have to use exactly the same name. Okay, first name. So what is the value how to send? Should put in the double quotation. So here I will say, so let's say John XYZ12, some name, because it should be unique name. Okay, it should not be duplicate. I'll say XYZ. So this is the first name, and this is the first parameter. Now what is the second parameter? So request param dot put command, guys. Okay, this will add these parameters to the request. This is a put method. And similarly, I need to also add other parameters. How many parameters we need to pass? According to this case, 4 parameters: first name, last name, username, password, and then email ID. Now 4 parameters I should pass. So here, go to Eclipse. This is the first name. This is your last name. Okay, this is your last name. So last name is say XYZ and then John, and then username. So then I have to pass a username So username is John XYZ. I'll put as it is, and then password I need to pass, and I'll pass password, and password is John XYZ. I'll keep as it is. Okay, so some small XYZ. Okay, this is my password, and also you need to pass email address. So I need to again add one more field. So these are the fields we need to send as part of the request, because this is a post request. Okay, that's the difference. So email is, I will say this one @gmail.com, some email address. Okay, so this is the data which I am going to send to the server. So first we need to prepare the request parameters along with the post request. What kind of parameters we need to send, so that we need to prepare. So once you prepare this, we need to also specify what kind of data we are passing. It is a JSON format, right? So these are all part of request, guys. Okay, these are all request parameters. Okay, so, or we can say body, or we can say request payload, guys. This is the right time we have to use. Okay, request payload sending along with post request. So because whenever you send post request, we need to send some data to the server. So request payload in the sense request body. So first name, last name, username, password, email I will send, and with this data it will create a new record. But we should also specify what kind of data it is. It is in JSON format. So we need to also specify that. So we need to also add one header for this data. We need to also send some header. So how we can add this header? So take this HTTP request dot header. Here we need to specify what is the content type. So the content type is how to specify like this: content hyphen type, and if it is a JSON format, we need to specify MIME type like this. If it is JSON format, it is application/JSON. So we should also specify the content type as part of header. So this is also going as part of post request. It is also going to send as part of post request. Okay, now we have just created request parameters and header, and these things we need to attach to your post request. So because these things we should send to the server. So how we can do that? So here we need to say HTTP request dot body, and here we have a request params, right? So request params dot to JSON string. So what this method basically will do is it will add JSON to the body of the request. So request params contains this data: first name, last name, username, password, email. So this data should be added to your post request, right? So HTTP request dot body of request params dot to JSON string. So whatever values we specified here, that will be converted into JSON format, and then we'll send along with this body. Done. So now once we have done this, now we need to send actual requests. Till now we have not sent any request, okay? But we have prepared some data here which will send along with the post request. So now we need to exactly send a request. So here, how to send a request? So previously how we have done, so this is a statement I have done. So in the first example, this is a statement I have written for sending a request. So this time we need to create like this. So I'll remove from here. So before sending the request, I prepared all these things because this is a post request. So post request which need body, that means parameters along with the header part. And then I have attached this complete stuff to the request. Now I'm going to send this request. So HTTP request.sec request, what kind of method it is? It is a post method. So instead of get, I'll just say post request. And what is the path parameter which we need to add? So if you just go and see the test case, path parameter is registered. So in the URI, we haven't specified the register here. But if I /add/register, this will go and create the new customer. So here the path parameter is register. This is small case letters. Okay. So now this will actually send the request to the database And again, HTTP request is already contains the data because we already done the data as well as header part, this particular portion of the code. So this particular request will go to the server and create the new record with this particular data. Okay, with this particular data, it will create a new record because this is a post request. So now we need to verify the response. So as part of my test case, I need to check the success response here. So if suppose record is successfully created, we will get this success code and message. And 201 is the status code. So I will verify these two things now. So verification. So I'll remove all this, and rest of the things are same, guys. So this is a validation part. Here validation is started. So once we get the response dot get body, okay, get body as a string. What this will do, it will get the response and store that into response body. And now again I'm printing the response body here. And what are the validations we need to do now? We need to verify the status code, and status line we don't require. So in this response status line we don't require. We need to verify the status code. So response body I captured and printed the response body, and then here I am capturing the status code. So response.get status code will give you status code, and I'm printing the status code. According to my test case, status code should be 101. I'm verifying that, but by using asset command. Okay, so this is status code validation. Now I will also verify the success code. So in Excel file, this is a success code. So this I want to verify. So how we can verify this success code? So this success code is part of your response body, right? Success code is a part of your response body. So we need to extract the success code from the response body. So how we can extend is, so response dot, so because the response contains everything. So response dot JSON path, because the data is available in the JSON format. So response dot JSON path dot get of which value we need to get from this response, success code I want to capture. So specify this value, keyword. Success code is a key value that we have to specify in the double quotations. So then what this will return? This will return the value of the success code. So in the JSON response, what is the value of the success code? Operation success, right? So this is a value of success code. So I'm capturing this value from the response. So response is there in the JSON format. So from the response, JSON path dot get success code. Wherever the success code is there in the JSON path, it will get that value of success code and store that value in a variable. So here I will create one string variable, and I will store it here success code. Okay, so this is success code validation. So this is success code validation. Now I got the success code. Then we need to put the asset command now. So I write asset dot asset equals asset equals what is the actual. So this is the actual value. So what we are expecting? We are expecting operation success. So this is the value we are expecting. This is the value we are expecting. So specify here in the double quotations because this is a string. Okay, so now whatever success code we captured, which is equal to this one, so both will be passed. And if both are not equal, my test will be failed. So in this particular test case, I've shown you how to send a post request. But when I send a post request, it should also include the body. So we have decided first body, we created some body, and content type also specified. And now I have added this request params to this body. So HTTP request dot body params dot to JSON string. This statement will, this particular statement attach data to the request. Okay, so whatever data we prepared here, request params will be attached to the request. So this statement will do that. Attach data or above data to the request. Okay, so let's execute this now. So I prepared everything. Now two validations we perform. One is status code is verified, and also success code is verified. So success code is basically generated within the response. So first we need to capture the JSON path response, JSON path from the response, and success code, and that success code I have stored in this variable. Now I have verified this success code is exactly equal to this one or not. Okay, now let's execute this. Right click, run as TestNG test. So my test case is executing. Now let us see. Okay, now it is executed and passed. So now let us see the output. So this is a response body, guys. So I already printed my response body. So what it is contains success code and message. And the status code is 201. So my verification points are passed. So what are things I verified? Success code I verified and status code also verified. So my test is got passed. Okay. So this is how we need to send a post request. And the new stuff here is whenever we send a post request, we need to also add parameters to the post request and make again add those parameters to the request. And whenever send the post request, these parameters also will send to the server and it will create a new record. Okay, so this is my test case. This is registration test case, guys. All right, so now let's move on to the another test cases, the fourth one. So 1, 2 we already done. So 3, 4, 5, 6 we have still 4 requests we have. So every request I will perform different kind of validation. So rest of for all get request. Okay, so let's go to Eclipse now. I'm closing this one. So I will create another test, new class, and this is I'll say tc 003 underscore again get request underscore request and finish. So this is the third test case, guys. Okay, so this is again get request, so I can just copy the code whichever I have given in the first test case, because get request code is always same. Slightly we need to change few things, but almost same. So in this particular request, what I'm going to do is, this is the third one. So in the third one, Google Map API, here I'm validating the headers. So in the first two APIs, I have validated status code, status lines, and response code or success code. And this time I will validate the headers. Okay. So this is Google Map API. Now let's see how we can automate this. This is a get request. This is a get request. So in this request, I'm going to validate the headers part. Now let's go. This is a Google Map API. So here, just a moment. So I will just change this method name. So this is Google Map. Okay, so Google Map test. This is the name of the method I have changed. And now we'll see what are the changes we need to, because this is the same get request, almost everything will be the same. Okay, so now go to this. So we are currently in the third one. Okay, so in the third one, what is the endpoint here? This is the endpoint. This is a request URL. So request URL contains the API key also. I have noted down here API key. So earlier I already generated this API key, which is already available there. Okay, so now I'm going to send this request, but we need to first send this URL. So this endpoint we need to send only domain part, and the rest of the path parameters we need to add later. So just I will change this base URI. That's the first thing. Okay, now request object is same. We have to create the request object. Now when I'm sending the request here, this is not only the path, we need to add a lot of things here, because if you see this particular URL, there are a lot of things are there. So till.com we have provided /map/API/place. All these things we need to specify as part of the request. So now I'm just copying all this stuff. So till here, because till.com we already put in the base URI. So this particular portion, whichever highlighted with the red color, I'm just copying only this particular portion and put that here. This is a path parameter. This is a little bit huge because it is also contains a key value. So until unless we have a key value, we cannot access that API. Okay. So now this will go as a request. It's just a get request, and it will give you some response. It will give you some response. And what this response contains, what we should validate in this response. So as I said before, in this response, I'm going to validate the headers. So what this will give you basically is return the list of supermarkets, because in the request I have specified something keyword called type is equal to supermarket. If you see this particular path parameter and maps.api place nearby search XML colon location. So in this particular region, so this is coordinates basically. Within this particular region, and this also parameters, type is equal to supermarket asset. That means within this particular region, whatever supermarkets are available, so those supermarkets list will be returned by this API. So that response will be stored in this response variable. Okay, so it is again in the JSON format. Now, what are the validations I should do here is, I'm not going to do any validations, but I want to show you how to capture headers from this response. But in the previous test cases, I have shown you status code validation, status line validation, and also response body validation. But this time I'm not going to validate them. Especially I'm going to validate headers part here. Okay, so let's go and get the header. So I'm just removing this for now. And after getting the response, I'm printing the response body. Okay, again, this is the same code. Print the response body in the console window. From this response, get body dot as string, store that response in the response body. I'm printing the response body here. Now I need to verify the header part. I need to verify the header part. How to verify the header part? So to first of all, I need to what are the headers will be created for this API request. So that we need to understand first. So normally what are the APIs will be there in the header part. Okay, so if you want to know all these headers and everything information, so you can also check this API request in the Postman tool. Okay, before writing here, because you don't know exactly what are the headers will be created by these APIs. And if you don't know what are the headers will be created, you cannot validate them, right? So before writing this validation, you can just open the Postman tool and check before sending the request here. So I will send the same request in Postman tool. Then I will see what are the headers we are getting. Then I will use the same headers information here. Okay. So now I'm launching my Postman tool. Just hold on. Okay. So now I have launched my Postman tool. So I will send the same request in my Postman tool and see what are the headers it will return. So for now, I'm just closing all these things. Okay, so what is the request URL? So this whole URL I need to send. So copy this along with the key. Okay, and take one more request, and this is a get request and copying the complete key here. So location, radius, type, and key. So these are the parameters we are sending according along with the request. So now click on the send button. It will give you some response in the JSON format. Okay, this is a response body. It is giving some huge body. And if you go and see the headers here, click on the headers. See this, how many headers I have written here? Content type, date, expires, cache control, vary, and so many things. Now I need to verify this headers value is correct or not. Okay, in the RestAssured automation. So these headers we can validate. So what are the headers information is available for this API? We should know before that. So now go to Eclipse. So this response body contains some response body, but here I'm not much focused in the response body. I want to just verify the headers. Just for your information, I'm printing the response body, and then we will see how we can capture the headers. So there are so many headers we have seen here. So now we need to capture each and every value of headers. So not all the headers, some of the few important. So content type is important, and content encoding is important, server, content length. So these are all few important headers which we need to validate every time. So how we can get this information? So now here, capture details of headers from response. Okay, capture the details of header from response. How we can capture? So response contains everything. So response dot header. This is a method. Response dot header. And what is a header? So in the Postman, we will see that content type is one of the header. Copy this and specify in the double quotations. So what this will do is, this will give you the value of the content type and store this value in some variable. So here I'll create one string variable. This is a content type. Content type is equal to response dot header of content type. So this will give you content type value from the response and store that into this variable. So now I need to verify this. If you want to print the content type, you can put some statement here. System.out.println. So here I can just write content type is, and here I'm printing that value. So content type here, and then semicolon. And now I need to verify this. As per my expectation, the content type is this one. This is my content type. So I need to verify that. So how to verify? Asset.asset equals asset.asset equals what is the actual and expected? This is our expected. This is our expected content type. But what is the actual content type? This will give you actual content type. So now if both are equal, my test will pass. If both are not equal, my test will fail. So this is one verification point. So here, capture details of the headers from the response. Okay, so this statement actually. Here I'm writing capture details of content type header. This is the one of the header. We can also get information from other headers. So here, validating headers. So first validation is done. Content type is verified. Similarly, we'll also verify other verifications. So here I have content encoding is GG. So how we can verify this? This is content encoding. So again, I'll copy the same stuff. Okay, so this is capture details of content encoding. So this I will verify. So content encoding header. So the same thing you have to specify here. Okay, so same thing. Previously we have captured content type, this time content encoding, and stored that into some variable. I'll just give this name a variable as content encoding. Content encoding. So now I got the value from content encoding header and stored that into here. Now I will print this value in the console window. This is content encoding value. Okay, and then I will verify that. So actual content encoding this one. So this is actual, and what is our expected content encoding? It should be GG. So this is actual value. So I'll put that into double quotation. So I have verified the content type header, and also I verified the content encoding header. So these are the two headers I have validated. Similarly, you can also verify the other stuff. So there are so many headers are there, like expires you can verify, vary, server also you can verify, content length also you can verify. Okay, content length also you can verify. So server timing also you can verify. Just like this, you have to just response.header, specify the what is the header name. What is the header name? You have to specify, get that value, store that into some variable, and write one asset command. What is you are expecting? What should be there? And if both are equal, my test will pass. Otherwise, my test will fail. So this is how we need to validate the headers of a response. So this is also simple get request. So here this is a base URI, and here I am requesting get method along with the path parameters. Then I capture the response body here, and response is there here in this variable. Now from this response, I'm capturing the body and printing the body in my console window. After that, I'm capturing the values of the headers and then verifying the content type and content encoding is exactly right or not as per my expectation. So this is how we need to write the test case. Now let's execute and see that. Run as TestNG test. Okay, now it is executing. Just wait for a moment because the response body is very huge. It takes some time. Now we can see the complete response body is written here. The huge body it is written. There are a lot of things out there. So if you just come down here, you can see exact. So this is content type. This is content type. This is content encoding. So both are as per my expected, so that my test case is passed here. Google Map test is passed. Okay, so this is how we need to verify the headers part. So in this test case especially, I have shown you how to verify the headers. Just a moment. Okay. Okay, so first three APIs we have automated and we have done certain kind of validations. And in the next session, we will see three more APIs and different verification points. Okay, fine. So that's all for today's session, guys.